There was slush on our cars this morning.
Yeah, but that
Was it
seemed
that
like
cold?
I thought it was more. That was more like ice than snow, though. I think.
Yeah, it was like slushy.
Like
but
grapple, whatever they want to call it.
What'd you call me?
You heard me.
Did you say Jimmy Garoppolo?
Don't make me stutter.
Grapple?
Grapple?
I've never heard that word in my life.
It's some weird mix of like freezing rain, snow, sleet, what have you.
Sure, we need it.
Yeah, another one of those things where I can't define it.
How do you spell it?
See, this
Graupel.
and this is what Oregon does to you. We got fake ass spring.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, beautiful weather.
Yeah.
So grapple is a like the in between point of hail and sleet.
That would probably, yes, that would be what I would describe that as then.
And according to the weather folks, in many areas, grapple is relatively uncommon because it's a unique atmospheric condition required for its formation.
Sure.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, grapple is like that's a crappy quarterback on the Raiders.
So a quarterback on the Raiders.
I'm gonna get blessed with Justin Fields. I just know it.
Hey, well, maybe not. You see what Peter King had to say on the day he retired? Peter King retiring today.
I mean, he's been in the game for like, what, 40 years?
Yeah, I was floored when I saw that he said his Football Morning in America has been, or Monday Morning Quarterback, it's had the different variations, 27 years online. 27 years online.
The internet hasn't been around that long.
Yeah, you were going.
Yeah, Al Gore invented the internet for that column.
Did he?
The first thing on the internet was Monday Morning Quarterback.
But he said for 27 years he's been running Monday Morning Quarterback or Football Morning in America. And I'm not going to fact check that. I'm going to take the man for his word. He's a big J journalist, journalistic integrity.
Holy crap! It was that long ago. 1992, AOL went public. In 92.
In 92.
93, they started
more than 27
sending.
years ago.
Yeah, 93, they started sending the discs, and in 95, the service reached 1 million.
Okay. And so that would be right around when he was pumping it out onto the internet. Look at that.
Oh, my God, man.
Yeah. So that's today in internet. But in his Monday Morning Quarterback or Football Morning in America, whatever the hell they call it, he said the winds are a changing when it comes to Justin Fields. He is getting the feeling in conversations that he's had with people around the league and people within the Bears organization and around the Bears organization, the Bears are probably going to hang on to Justin Fields. Which you are noted Justin Fields hater. I don't think that Justin Fields is a subpar quarterback. I think that he has all of the potential that people see in him. I get that offensive line was god awful this past year. And I don't know if Shane Waldron is the fix, especially after hearing JSN's comments at Super Bowl media junkets. But you look at Justin Fields and you say, the pieces are there. Can he put it together? Is he ever going to be elite? I don't think he's an elite quarterback, but I think there's very few of those guys across the NFL. And there's like only one Patrick Mahomes right now. But there are a lot of, if you build a good roster and look at what the Chicago Bears did defensively, especially after the trade deadline, they got Montez Sweat. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL in the last 2 months of the season. And so you look at, that's a back half of the year. Their defense was really damn good. And so what they're looking at is like, all right, if we have 1, we have 9, and somebody's desperate, and we can upgrade our roster now and stockpile picks for next year, then we can pay Justin Fields. You're not paying him the $58 million or whatever, but we can afford to pay Justin Fields and then have a backloaded roster with a lot of young pieces that you say that is a formula to make a run.
Real quick, in the entire history of the Bears organization, literally the entire history of the Bears organization,
history of it,
had they ever been in position to draft a franchise quarterback? Number one.
Well, yeah, last year.
Well,
when they traded the pick to the Carolina Panthers.
They got that one right.
So, last year would be 1 year.
Okay. My point being, there's a difference between, I think, what Bryce Young was evaluated as versus what Caleb Williams is evaluated as. I would say there's a very stark difference between the two.
Okay. If you go down this road, though, you trade back out of 1.
Mm-hmm.
You get at that point, if you're going 2 or 3,
You're going to 2 because Washington's.
you can have your pick of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, whomever you
offensive
feel
lineman
is the number 1. Then you also have the 9th overall pick.
Mhm.
Still in this draft, which is not going anywhere. It is their own pick. And then you can go, offensive lineman, or you can go, they also need a corner and always want to you could potentially get the best defensive lineman in the draft at 9.
Mhm.
And you could sit there and you could say, all right, we're going to fortify our defense even more, or we go and we get that interior offensive line figured out because it's a mess.
Which
it's an
is
absolute disaster.
There's a thought that there could be 3 centers that go in the first round this year.
That's nuts. And Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon is projected as the top guy. That is wild to think about. But the importance of that position, it's immeasurable.
Yes.
I mean, he's the brain of your offense. And when you have elite players at that category, and this is why teams that are in the back end of the first round, that's where they're going to thrive. They're going to say, what do we need? And where do we have an immense amount of talent? It's at the center position in this draft. It truly is. But they could go there. They also have $83 million in cap space.
That's which you blew my mind with this. I was like, well, what about the rookie holds? And you're like, no, that's after the rookie holds. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
They can sign this entire class and still have $80 million to play with?
They got a ton of space with the salary cap that they can kind of, if you don't go interior offensive line, you can go out and sign some guys there, which you can say, could the Bears turn it around? Could they be like that Texans-esque team that had 2 first-round picks? Yeah, because nobody trusts Matt Eberflus or Shane Waldron, and you probably shouldn't.
Or Poles.
You probably shouldn't, because they didn't fire their head coach at an opportunity where you could say, all right,
this is
where we're going to go and how we're going to operate moving forward. Kind of muff the pun on that one,
guys. The Texans, what did they do? They went out and got the GM, which they got in trouble for trying to go get from New England. They went out and got their coach, and they had a new organizational total reset before going down the path that they've gone down.
Yeah.
That's why this worked, is you had everybody on the same bleeping page. If Eberflus craps the bed this season, you're firing him at the end of the year.
You're firing him midway through the season.
Yeah, you might turf him right away. So what the hell are you waiting for? And if that's the position you're in going into the draft, you're already behind the 8 ball. So you're screwing over whatever quarterback you have, whether it's Fields, who's going into his contract here, or your rookie.
Yeah.
So I have zero faith that they're going to get this right.
But they have the pieces that you could say.
Sure.
And Poles isn't that bad.
No.
It's
more
talent
Eberflus
evaluation and getting themselves in this position.
They got out of Bryce Young, so he's clearly smart enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, could have had CJ Stroud,
sure.
But you also had a young quarterback that you wanted to see last year, and you saw a little bit of growth out of him, and we're going to see kind of something. Still just tells me, though, say they don't have a second-round pick this year.
No.
Say you trade Justin Fields and you get that second-round pick that many believe that you can get for him because he's a starting-level quarterback in the NFL, and he is going to be on a favorable contract for you to where you have the option year. You can view it just as a rental, and then if it doesn't work out, you can move on. Atlanta would be, a team that would be in this category. Pittsburgh Steelers also in that category where you could see them say, all right, we'll take a flyer on a guy, relatively low risk, and if we have at the bare minimum, we get a starter for at least 2 seasons, and then you move on and you say, all right, we're going to wash our hands of it, and it didn't work out. Because if it goes in the side of the mountain, guess what? Probably going to be drafting pretty high.
It's fair.
So if you trade him for a second-round pick, you go and you draft Caleb Williams at 1. Say Roma Dunze is sitting there at 9, and you can go and get Roma Dunze, and then you match him with DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Then you can spend some of that $83 million that you have in salary cap to go and bolster the interior offensive line, whether it's Connor Williams, who's going to be one of the cap casualties in Miami, who is their starting center, or you go and you get Kevin Zeitler from Baltimore, who's a guard, maybe a stopgap because he's a little bit older, but you can get a couple good seasons out of him.
But you go from having a crappy offensive line to a viable offensive line behind your franchise or in front of your franchise quarterback.
There is a pathway in that you can say, all right, Chicago could figure it out
Mhm.
if they switch their damn head coach, but there is that pathway there
Yeah,
where
the flip side is, of course, is what Peter King outlines in Football Morning in America, which is the cycling back and doing what the Texans did. And the way he does it is trading the number 1 pick back to the Wizards, to the Commanders for Caleb Williams, and then taking the Commanders pick and trading that back to the Falcons. And in the process, collecting the 8th pick from the Falcons, using their 9th, second-round picks from both Washington and Atlanta, and then between the two trade backs, 3 more first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in 2025. So you would have 5 picks in the first 2 rounds, in the first 64 picks, and to be honest, probably 5 picks in the high.
that's a lot
40s.
of capital, man.
But the flip side is, what if they don't get the sweet deal that they got with the Panthers and them being crappy? What if Caleb Williams is that guy? What if the Commanders now go, hi, we've got a franchise quarterback, thanks for business.
Yeah,
and
you
they
never
rattle
wanna be there.
and you rattle off 10, 11 wins.
Yeah, then you're the Portland Trailblazers saying it made sense at the time.
Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Like at the time, it made sense.
Yeah.
Like of course,
And
it
that's
did.
what I'm saying.
Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. Yeah. Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. It made
Bears-
sense at the
call.
time.
Still the right call.
Still the right call.
The Bears not taking this opportunity when it's there. If you miss, you miss. But man, you've never had the opportunity to swing, and the opportunity is there, and you're not going to do it.
But then you have to circle back to how real is the Caleb Williams trying to flex his muscles not to be
Out
in
of Chicago. Yep.
And then at that point, I think then you really start thinking about it. And if
then
you're,
you-
Chi-
then
if
you
you're
should trade
Chicago,
back.
if you're Chicago, by the way, that is going to be one where Caleb Williams they're going to leak that, and they will make sure that is
The driving nail.
number 1.
Yes.
And
that's why we traded back.
That will always stick with Caleb Williams, no matter what his career
And
does.
it'll honestly, capital politically and in public, it will save the Bears.
It will. And it should.
Even if he's great, because nobody kills the Chargers for Eli.
Yeah, and they're going to say we couldn't do this at the beginning because at the time we couldn't let that out because we lose our leverage then.
Yeah.
So all of that is there. And then you have on the flip side, Russell Wilson went on the I Am Athlete podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wants to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years in Denver.
I, too, would be trying to guarantee my contract.
I think the more plausible is what else has been floated over the weekend, which is Russell Wilson. The Denver Broncos may just be done with him, and they may just eat all of the dead cap.
Walmart money, baby.
It was $89 million over 2 seasons in dead cap, where they're going to pay his guarantees, and he plays at the league minimum somewhere. Yeah, so somebody like Russell Wilson at his number, it is not palatable. At league minimum,
You can talk yourself into it.
where the Broncos are footing the bill for everybody else, hell yeah, you're going to take that.
Yeah, you took that flyer.
You're going to run with that
Yeah.
because Russell Wilson was not god awful. He just wasn't Russ in his prime because he's not in his prime anymore.
No.
And so you
Stopgap late career veteran quarterback on league minimum. Yeah.
who can still sling it, hell yeah, you're going to take
No,
that.
and in a place like Pittsburgh where you don't lean on your quarterback at all, you just ask them to please don't blow this.
What a turn of events Russell Wilson's career will go from him trying to call all the shots and muscle his way to
Mike Tomlin telling him to
particular
shut up.
teams to then having to go to Pittsburgh, and Mr. Unlimited is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania after that.
Mike Tomlin stuffs him in a locker. God, I'd love to see it.
Chef's kiss.